that's here for the truth. Come put both hands on a DJ. Are you ready?
Now, you need to understand that as an American, this country is king of the hill. So everyone else wants that spot. And the best way to get that spot is to subvert American expectations, Americans' perceptions of other nations.
Yeah.
And they're sanitizing it so that you see something that isn't real. People point the finger, and we've avoided this. We'll go, you're paid by Israel, you're paid by Qatar, and you're a Fed and 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 a Fed. Now, some of that does go on, to be clear. People are paid sometimes by foreign influences, but it's not always what you think. It's not just $7,000 for a pro-Israel post. And I can tell you this because I've been offered trips to Israel, which I've declined. At some point in time, I would like to go as a Christian, see,
on your own
the
dime.
land of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to avoid any strings attached. And there are, I will tell you this behind the scenes, there are very big investors from Qatar. So this is true. I can't prove that anyone is taking money from any one source, but I'm just saying it's not completely ill-founded. We don't make those accusations. But I will say that the influence takes place from all foreign adversaries. It's a war of information right now, and that includes Qatar. That includes, Israel. They have their own vested interests. That includes France, by the way. That includes China. That includes a lot of other nations, and it happens in ways that you may not realize. It's not just pay for a post. So this is one that raised some eyebrows, and it could just be because there was a race, to be clear. But multiple conservative influencers descended upon Qatar the very same weekend with posts coinciding on Instagram about how great Qatar is.
Which are the girls that's here for the truth? Come put both hands on a DJ. Are you ready?
Yeah. Now do outside of Doha.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, you can do that with any nation. We'll get to that. But there are also some congressmen there. Laurel Lee, Marlon Stutzman, Abe Hamada, Ryan Zinke, Lawrence Gooden.
Lance Gooden.
Oh, sorry, Lance Gooden. I apologize.
Right.
You guys can check the rep. No, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for killing my momentum like that.
Yeah, I got it.
That was quick.
It was good.
Why?
He was waiting for it. Thanksgiving doesn't scratch the hatred itch. Now, all of these influencers, of course, insist that Qatari Thanksgiving traditions are no different from American Thanksgiving, like their Macy's parade.
That's
nice.
There's a little oil.
Oh my God, beautiful.
It's like their version of Clifford.
Yes, exactly. I think it has a leak.
Clifford, the big red dead Christian.
Yes.
Stepped on it.
It's the great beheading, Charlie Brown. Not to mention the Thanksgiving dinner with the perfectly oven-roasted falafel. And after that, of course, the always televised Doha Minster Dog Show that everybody, oh, hey,
come on. That's not a chew toy.
That was a chew toy.
I don't think they're chewing.
Those dogs are fully coiffed, I'll tell you that.
I don't think there's any setup. Now, here's the thing. Qatar, you see it, right? And so people point to it, they go, Qatar, Israel, that's what. But it's not just Qatar and Israel. It's every nation is going to act as they should in their own self-interest. Now, you need to understand that as an American, this country is king of the hill. So everyone else wants that spot. And the best way to get that spot is to subvert American expectations, Americans' perceptions of other nations.
Yeah.
And they're sanitizing it so that you see something that isn't real. Let me show you from all of these nations and the propaganda that makes its way into social media what they want you to see.
It's pretty. A lot of lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all coordinated.
Shanghai? Nice.
So we'll stop the lecture and let you take a look for yourself at what the Kievskaya metro station in Moscow, Russia looks like today.
Tucker.
It's missing something.
A little bit.
Yeah, so you've got Qatar, you've got China, you've got Russia. That's what those governments want you to see. Here's the reality.
This footage was sent to us by Edwin, a Kenyan migrant worker in Doha. We've changed his name, and his words are spoken by an actor. After all, expressing critical views can be dangerous.
And they get you killed.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that drop. No. It's a banger.
Don't stop believing.
It's like Austin.
Yeah. And just so you know, you go outside of, like you said, Doha, it's clay huts.
Any of these countries, especially in the Middle East, but a lot of these third world countries, you leave those big cities and it is just caveman days.
I will tell you, I was surprised. Ireland leaving major cities. Basically what you would consider a summer cottage or really old sort of quaint rustic place is how a lot of people live there.
And we have that here in the United States. You know, we have mountain folk. We have people in the Appalachia, or however you say it. You got people out in the rural areas, but they have running water.
Right.
They have electricity.
Right.
Yes.
They have the internet. It's a lot different. It's the living standard is.
They're also not
way lower outside the cities.
They're also not killed for apostasy like Qatar, or they're
Right.
also not taken away in cuffs and never to be seen again if they speak out against the government, as an example
Free
in
speech.
China, or for example, if they're a punk rock band in Russia sent to gulags. And just to be clear, this funding goes a lot deeper than people realize. Like people do, and I think AIPAC is a problem. I think we should end the $3 to $4 billion a year that we send to Israel. Also the arms. I think it only needs to be mutually beneficial. That's always been my opinion. You guys let me know if you think it's anti-Semitic or if you think it makes me a Jewish shill or a Nazi, depending on the day. But I'm also really concerned about a lot of other funding as well. So Qatar is a good example. They've given about $6.3 billion from 86 to 2024 to American universities.
Jeez.
That's double approximately what China gave, which is still a problem with billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Why are they giving any?
Right.
Like the number should be zero. I don't want any influence from China or Qatar on American universities.
None at all.
Done.
And we're going to get to the segment as far as what does it mean to be American?
Yeah.
What does it mean to preserve, to conserve your country? What does that mean? What are we fighting to conserve? That's really what conservative means. I'm not talking about Republican. I'm talking about conserving. To me, what that means is conserving what this country was meant to be. And I do think that's where there's a conversation that needs to be had. Was this country meant to simply be a mosaic of any race, religion, culture of people, so long as they're happy to be here and leave their previous country? No. There's quite a bit more as far as your end of the bargain coming to this country and what you're expected to uphold. But yeah, this obviously raised a lot of eyebrows. And in other cringe influencer news, so I'm going to go to the other side here. Jillian Michaels told Donald Trump Jr., she gave her opinion on why Nick Fuentes, to be clear, I just think this is asinine. Nick Fuentes needs to be disavowed if you're going to keep broads like her.
I'm here to tell you it's a big deal. And I think it's a big deal because all of those people that your dad invited in, Tulsi, Kennedy, myself, inadvertently, right? All of these more, Rogan, all of these more moderate people who fleed the crazy on the left are alarmed if the right doesn't disavow the Nick Fuenteses. And it doesn't mean, I'm not saying cancel Tucker Carlson. That is not what I'm saying. I wish
We should
Tucker
leave the
had
prescriptions
handled it
to actual
differently.
conservatives.
I have no problem saying that. But I do think it's going to be a problem.
I'm sort of a free speech absolutist, but that doesn't mean there's not consequences to that speech. And if you hear some people speak and you don't like, you're like, man, I sort of feel like they almost cancel themselves, and not with censorship, but by people being like, okay, that's not even a reasonable decision. We're just not going to listen to this person anymore.
I'm just deeply concerned that if there's a guy who says women want to be raped, and somebody does not say, this
Carol
is
said
not
that,
who
actually.
we are as a party, this is not conservatism, we find him repulsive. I'm telling you, it's
Yeah, but I also
I'm
think
telling you.
if you're going to acknowledge every person that says something ridiculous, all of a sudden you're just making them bigger in a way.
Yeah, now, just in case you guys were wondering too, since she's now offering prescriptions sort of like Nala Ray with Bible courses in her ministry, Jillian Michaels, and it doesn't mean that people can't be wrong, but when you've been wrong your whole life, selling people booty workouts on a reality show, maybe sit back in the pulpit and learn for a while instead of offering prescriptions. Jillian Michaels, for those who don't know, she just jumped on the conservative bandwagon in 2024.
moderate lefty your entire life, not particularly political. You've now seen the light. The election is in a couple days from now.
Wow.
Will you be voting for Donald Trump?
I did vote for Donald Trump, yeah. He wasn't my choice out of the candidates that were running for the primary. I do understand his flaws, but the problem for me is that it becomes a question of lesser evils.
So here's and that's important. He wasn't my choice, and now she claims to be a conservative. If she is welcomed with open arms, and by the way, you shouldn't shun her, but if her prescriptions, her solutions are welcomed with open arms, what do you think people like Jillian Michaels, if there are enough of them, are going to do if they actually attain power within our movement? Well, we know that Donald Trump was not their choice. We know that she voted Democrat for most of her life. We know where she lined up before. Do you think that maybe they'll revert to that and try and shape-shift up? The left has gone far left and the right has gone somewhat left. And by the way, I won't be told who I can and can't have on this show. That's why Nick Fuentes is on Thursday, even though I disagree with him on a whole lot, but I also agree with him on quite a few things. My big problem is I think Nick Fuentes has some legitimate grievances because of what he refers to as gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Jillian Michaels doesn't get to tell conservatives who they can talk with. Now, they both have the same problem because Nick Fuentes has said that, we need a future coalition, someone like a Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie. I would ask him, what do you think happens if Ro Khanna, interchangeable with Jillian Michaels in this case, attains power in the Republican Party or an independent party? They have adhered to an ideology that requires of them to attain power and subvert it. So if you create a coalition and one believes in more power, well, guess what? You're going to find yourself compromising. Nick said, well, they'll have to compromise on immigration and the right will have to compromise on free markets. Okay, now do First Amendment. Now do Second Amendment. Where do you think Jillian Michaels lines up on all these things? We know where she lines up on the First Amendment. Second Amendment. Want to do abortion? Want to do LGBTQ outside of it's safe for them to now say not children? Yeah, but I want our movement to say, no, mainstream is, even if you're an adult, you want to change your name, fine. We don't recognize you as changing gender. Doesn't mean we are committing genocide. We recognize you as a human being. We recognize you as the human being you were born to be. How about that being mainstream? Because if we start taking advice from someone like her, if we start creating coalitions with people who have those kinds of prescriptions, we want to deplatform people. We want to silence people, or, my God, people like Ro Khanna because they're populist. Guess what? You conserve nothing. You don't end up with half of the LGBTQ characters going away, like we just covered with Glad.
Right.
You don't end up with Americans saying, we need to stop immigration, full stop, supporting deportations. You lose all these wins. So Jillian Michaels, and I say this, by the way, without a hint of malice, you're welcome to be on the show. I don't think she will. She goes where she's not going to be pressed. Sit this one out for a few years, learn, and then maybe we'll listen to you for a bit.
Yeah, you don't get to join a movement and then instantly change the rules.
Right.
Just like you don't get to go to whatever different country and then change their culture.
Exactly.
And when did it become a litmus test for being a conservative or a Republican to it's not just not have on show, disavow.
That's a leftist thing.
Disavow Nick Fuentes. How about this? That's a bad prescription even if Nick Fuentes is the second coming of Hitler. You have to have conversations with people and you have to understand where they're coming from, where you have agreement and where you have disagreement, and hopefully talk to people and say, hey, here's why I disagree. Because at some point, somebody had that conversation with Jillian and said, here's why we disagree. Do you see why Trump's better than Kamala? So if we had just said, hey, never have conversations with Jillian, Jillian would still be doing what she was doing before voting for Donald Trump. That is just a stupid prescription.
Making fat people cry on a reality show.
That's
well, she of course uses
fun.
no performance-enhancing drugs.
That's true.
Yeah, disavowing, by the way, is a word it's a leftist word.
Is.
It's a cancel culture word. That's
And by the way, why do conservatives need to disavow Nick Fuentes when he says he's not conservative?
There you go.
It's peer pressure politics as well.
He has a different perspective. It would be like me hosting a Democrat. I'm not saying he's a Democrat, or hosting a libertarian, which I've had too. He doesn't claim to be a conservative. He has a different view of the world. Some of it is correct. Some of it is wrong. Also, you have people like Jillian. I would love to go into her past and see, we talk about integrity, what kind of supplements or fads she has pushed. Because it's the Wild West out there. And it's the only other company, I've told you this, that I actually have created, that I run. It's Foundation. It's a daily multivitamin. You can go to foundationdaily.com, get 40% off for life. Look, it's just like our references. It's transparent. Every ingredient is exactly as it is listed on the label with the dose that you see on the label. They're clinically active doses of turmeric curcumin. and garlic extract. So these are actually things that help with your lipids, with your cholesterol, your blood pressure. I can say that and not be sued. That's how long-standing these are. Inflammation, if you have some aches and pains. And you can go and actually get a certificate of analysis. If you eat perfectly, probably don't need it. If you want to fill in your gaps and have a multivitamin that you trust with clinically proven ingredients at their clinically proven doses that are not a panacea, are not going to fix everything wrong with you, go to Foundation Daily. We wanted to create a supplement company that actually has integrity, and I only sell one thing. Eventually, I might sell one other thing, 2 tops. But these supplement companies always go, you got to add and add, and all of a sudden you're selling bull crap that people don't need.
Yeah.
All right. And that's a good point, too. We don't take advice on our culture from other people.
Yeah.
We shouldn't take advice on conservatism from people who are new to it. You can take their input, but they shouldn't have a pulpit.
Right.
And I will say, conservatives have really loved tokenism. It's like, oh, you're a black chick? Come on in.
Right.
You're gay? Yeah, bring that lisp over here to a national stage.
Come tell us why we're wrong.
Yeah. And so before you run this sizzle reel for the Change My Mind bonus we're going to run on Wednesday, obviously the cold-blooded murder of 2 national, shooting. Do we know who lived and who? I know the shooter himself died, as I understand it, right? Was it the shooter who died? I don't know the total death count. I know the shooting count.
Yeah.
But
I know the female did die. The female national
and one was in
Guards,
critical condition.
but I'm waiting on research.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way. The cold-blooded shooting, attempted murder of probably a lot more until they were stopped by a Good Samaritan, 2 National Guard members by an Afghan national late last week. It really sort of brought to the forefront a conversation that we've been having here for quite a while. And that is, what is an American? Who can be American? Can someone be more American than the next person? And this is going to bring us to a conversation at large. Those in the West, we'll get to Piers Morgan, Tucker Carlson, and some conversations that have been taking place this last week. The West has been welcoming its conquerors. And I'm going to give you every reference, make it available to every clip that I show you today, because I want you to hear the plan from people who want to destroy America in their own words. And I don't need a chalkboard, and I don't need red yarn. They are telling you that their goal is to come here to take advantage of a porous immigration system and outbreed Americans to change the racial, cultural, and religious makeup of this country. Now, I know that a lot of libertarians have said, hey, as long as it's not affecting me. No, you guys need to understand something. And it's not antithetical to liberty and conservatism. You have the right to pick the country that you want to live in. And you have the right, as the citizens of this country, to choose what that looks like. That is not a violation of anyone's rights to say, no, we have rights that are uniquely recognized in this country by government that actually are granted by God. That's unique to us. And we have the right to choose who comes in and who's going to take part, because this is a special country. That's why everyone wants in. Vagina is exactly what I would say if I wasn't here on YouTube. So go and subscribe on Rumble. Same channel where free speech is actually alive and well. Or you can stay here and